Hi, my name is Glenn Tanner. I'm chef and co-owner of Tanner's Restaurant out in Barry Hiller Airport in New Braintree. Today we're going to make a couple nice dishes. Chicken Dijon, which is a sauté of chicken breast with a mustard, tarragon, and cream sauce. We'll also be doing bananas flambe, which is bananas in a caramel sauce flavored with Grand Marnier served over ice cream. We're going to start off with the chicken Dijon. It's a very simple dish. It's one that can be made up in large quantities for parties and held, or you can make it in small quantities just for yourself. It's a very quick, easy dish. It takes no more than 4 minutes from start to finish. Start off by heating up your pan. We're going to use about 4 tablespoons of butter. Anybody who's particularly worried about cholesterol or anything like that, you can use margarine or instead, but obviously with the butter it's a nicer flavor. Let that melt in your pan. On the side you've already got 4 6 to 8 ounce chicken breasts that have been skinned and cut all the fat and gristle off, and cut it into approximately 3/4 to 1 inch pieces. I'm going to put that in flour. We're going to shake it around a little bit to coat the pieces. Sorry. Get them all nice and evenly coated, and then we're going to shake off all the excess. The idea here is the flour will hit the butter, and it's going to create a little skin that will seal the chicken in and keep the inside nice and moist and tender while giving a little bit of nice crisp edge on the outside. Wait till the butter's all nice and melted and bubbly. The idea here, again, is that it's a nice quick dish, and in order to keep the chicken nice and tender, it needs to be sautéed quickly in a pan big enough to comfortably hold all of it. You want to be able to have a little bit of room in between each piece so it will cook as quickly as possible. You're sautéing here. You're not... If you had everything crowded in here, you'd actually be steaming it so the chicken would get soggy and tough very quickly. Now, you spread these pieces around so they can cook, and then just leave them in the pan for a minute. Let them sit and start to cook on the bottom. You can move them around just a bit, but you want to wait until you can see white coming around the edges of all the little pieces of chicken here. Once you see the white starting on the edges, flip the pan around, shake it up a bit. Get the pieces to cook on the other side, and at that point we're going to add a little chopped onion and mushroom, about roughly a half cup of each. Stir that up. We're going to continue cooking it until you no longer see any big pieces of pink showing out of the pieces of chicken. Okay, now you can see you're really not seeing any more raw chicken in here anymore. So we're going to add a couple tablespoons of mustard. And this is actually a dish where I don't call for good quality Dijon mustard. It tends to give a bit of excess sharpness to the dish. I like to use the old Ballpark brand. And you just stir this around to coat all the pieces of chicken. When I show people this dish, when pieces of things fly all over the stove, I like to tell them it's an old good luck custom to guarantee that it will come out right. When the chicken's coated with the mustard, you add your heavy cream, about 2/3 of a cup. Stir that around. We're going to sprinkle on about a teaspoon roughly of tarragon leaves, dried. If you want to use fresh, use about double that. Stir that around, turn your heat down and let it simmer about 1.5 to 2 minutes and it's all done. I'm going to just serve it on a plate with some cherry tomatoes that have been sauteed in garlic butter. And you just saute these briefly until they're hot and when the skins just start to pop a bit. And there we go. Next thing we're going to do is bananas flambe. This is a great party dish also. You can do it at tableside in a chafing dish and be very dramatic, or you can do it up ahead of time and keep it warm. And it's lovely over ice cream or fresh fruit or pound cake, or some people I know have just taken it aside by themselves and just eaten the whole thing. We're going to heat up a pan and we're going to put about 1 1/3 cups of sugar into it. This is the only tricky part of the of the recipe, in that sugar, as it caramelizes, it gets very hot and you have to be very careful not to splatter it on yourself. So you need to use a heavy bottomed pan over high heat. Preferably you have a pan with a long handle. Use a long wooden spoon also to help stir it around. And if you're nervous about it at all, wear rubber gloves or oven mitts over your hands just to be sure. You'll see once the pan is hot, the sugar is going to start to caramelize very quickly, and you just keep stirring it around. It's going to get very grainy and lumpy at this point. This will all melt down. It's nothing to worry about. So you'll see in the center of the pan, the sugar just starts to melt. Stir that around and draw the sugar in from the outside. This will take about 3 to 5 minutes total to get it all cooked down to the proper caramel color. Once the sugar is completely melted, you're going to add about 4 tablespoons of butter to it. Stir that around carefully and you'll see you end up with a beautiful caramel color. It's very thick. When this is hot, take the pan off the heat for a minute and add your vanilla extract and your Grand Marnier. You can also use other orange liqueurs. You can use creme de banana, which is very nice in this. You can see by how much it's splattering that you need to pull it off the heat because you could get it burned. And then you gently flame it. Continue to stir it around. It looks a bit curdled at this point. There's nothing wrong with that at all. By the time the whole sauce is finished, it'll be nice and smooth and elegant. Let this cool for a couple minutes, and then you're going to add your bananas to the whole thing. You just want to cook these quickly for a minute to coat them. If you add the bananas while the caramel is still very, very hot, they're going to end up melting into the sauce, which will give it a nice little flavor, but you want to have the bananas stay in nice little pieces for the sake of looks. And then once the bananas are all coated with the caramel, we're going to thicken and thin it at the same time. We're going to use a cornstarch and cream mixture. This is going to give nice richness and thicken it up a bit for you. Okay. You're just going to mix this in until it's all evenly blended and let it come up to a boil. And then just take it off the heat and it's ready to go whenever you are. This is good served cold, it's good served hot, it's good served warm. It's really nice most any way you want to do it. And then to serve this, you can use nice champagne coupes or fancy dessert glasses that you have. Put a good scoop of ice cream in there. Put a nice ladle full of sauce over the top. You're certainly welcome to put whipped cream on this if you honestly feel you need that many calories. It's a nice touch, but it's not necessary. It's a dish that sort of stands on its own. And that's it.